So the ticker symbol I want you guys to add to your watch list is one that I actually do daily chart analysis on, and I mentioned it over at the Patreon since March 27th, especially when it was starting to show weakness. But we're going to go over its chart in just a moment. So here on the screen, I have a stock that I mentioned this morning, and I want to share with you guys a little snippet of what goes on over at the Discord. And by joining the Patreon, you gain access to the Discord. Now, Patreon member slots are actually getting limited. They're getting filled up pretty quick. And I want you guys to see what type of opportunities you can actually obtain or learn from first. Actually, I would tell every single investor and viewer to actually learn from this before actually acting upon it. But some of the ticker symbols that I mentioned, they have opportunities like this one. And today, some investors have messaged me and told me, hey, thank you so much. I took the shot. It was awesome. It was a nice write-up, so forth. And I mentioned it at 7:33. ISIG shot up this morning, just pulled back, seems to have room, sitting at 7:09. Just needs more volume, very low volume, so be careful, right? So right after I mentioned it, it started to fall a little bit lower, and it hit a low here of 690. And from that point forward, it took off and it reached 915. Okay, this stock right here took off in just 2 hours and gave us back $2 per share if we entered close to the point when I mentioned it or a little bit above it. So that's about 15 to 20% in just 2 hours. And if you actually wanted to play it again from this point right here at 655 all the way up to 765, a whole entire dollar, it gave you another 10 to 15%. So if you put that together, that was like a 30% opportunity in just one day. Now, am I guaranteeing this every single time? No. But one of the biggest things you can obtain from joining the Discord and even the Patreon is my weekly watch list and the daily movers that I'm seeing as speculative stocks to watch and opportunities that are presenting themselves. Now, this one was pretty low under the radar because the average volume was 9 million. So you really had to dig a little deep to find this. I'm not saying you can't, but I am here to enlighten you guys and cast light on opportunities many other investors may be overlooking or not aware of. And that's what I do. And I enjoy doing that. So over at the Patreon, you can go check out the tiers. They're getting filled up pretty fast. And you gain access to the Discord. You'll be able to see my weekly watch list. And you'll be able to see these opportunities. Now, I really advise every single investor and viewer to learn from this first before just jumping into this type of stuff, because it's a lot more speculative. But I know a lot of investors want to learn about this and have some type of understanding or guidance of where to look. And that's what I'm here for. So we're out here to try to maximize profits and minimize losses. So what ticker symbol do I want you guys to add to your watch list? So the ticker symbol that I want you guys to add to your watch list is OCUGEN. Okay, OCUGEN had a pretty big run, right? As you could see that there throughout the day. I mean, what a jump. Now, this was sitting close to $6 and some change. I've talked about it since March, right? When you think about it, way back at this point right here, March 27th, it was falling. I told every single investor and viewer, watch it closely. The closer it gets to $6, the more interesting it becomes, okay? I talked about why the opportunity is there. I did tell everyone that it's speculative, so be careful. And March 27th at 11:39 p.m. There's the stamp time right there. And it was currently sitting at 713 at the time I did this post. Now, did it get closer to $6? Certainly. It dropped down to $5.85, bounced back up and hit a high here of $8. Started to fall, and today had a big run from literally 635 all the way up to 823 again. Now, something I'm noticing, and I just want to kind of point it out, is that it's been doing this time over time. So this is something to be a little bit aware of, that it's having little spikes, almost looking like that's all it could do, hit up to $8. So I do want investors to be aware of that and be a little cautious, right? Because if you've been getting in and you haven't been taking profits, these might be your opportunities, unless the FDA approval is going to shoot this one up to newer highs, which is what we've been talking about and all the things that have been going on. But today's jump was really due to the fact that last night, if you watch the lightning round or if you look at different articles, Jim Cramer literally said these words. He said, this is a speculative opportunity, but he didn't mention about the Covaxin. That's where I kind of found it interesting. And I don't know what type of statement that was, or he doesn't want to get too much into that speculation, if it's true or not, if they're going to be the U.S. market distributor to get the FDA approval or not. But he just said, you know, they are speculative and an opportunity worth taking a look at because of their technology for the eyes, right? What they really are known for. So he didn't mention anything about Covaxin, which I found interesting, but that made this stock run, and it hit a high here of 822. So this is definitely a stock to add to your watch list if you don't have it already. As always, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and let's make some money. So if you made it to this point in the video, the ticker symbols I'm about to share with you are some of the ones that are part of the list of the weekly watch list. We're going to look at when I mentioned them and where they're at and why I saw opportunity, right? So here we see Chpt, right? Charge point. I talked about it on March 21st. It was sitting at 23.51, and I said a little brief, summary about the company and why I liked it and found it attractive. And I said the most recent pullback had hit $20. The closer it gets to that, or if it breaks through that, the more interesting. Well, it was sitting around here, and all it took was 3 days later, and it started to fall. You've seen me probably explain this in other videos, but I want to share with you guys and emphasize the jump, right? I mean, it hit a low here of 19 and some change, and it jumped up to $32. Literally right there, just alone, $13 in just a few days, okay? That's one of the swing trades or part of the weekly watch list, right? Now, another one is Pinduoduo. You've probably seen me talked about this one as well, and I wanted every single investor and viewer to be aware of this opportunity. And even though it was running, I knew it was going to pull back, and I wanted every single investor and viewer to be aware of that. So right here was the date when I mentioned it, on March 24th, and it had to do with those tensions, quote unquote. I also put NEO on the list. I put Li Auto, and we're going to look at Li Auto in just a moment. NEO kind of moved a little bit slower than the other two, but Pinduoduo was sitting at 124, and the highest reliable source price target was 230. So I want you guys to be aware that this is also a long-term play. So it actually fell the next day to 119, right? March 24th was the date I talked about it, 119, and from that point forward, it jumped up all the way up here to 152. So that right there was a total amount of $33 per share. So you do the math on how many shares you needed to get X amount of money. Now, yes, it's pulling back, and it's going to have these pullbacks, and then it's going to go ahead and slingshot again. I'm not here to tell you that the opportunity is now. I would really watch this carefully and closely moving forward to see if it gets back into the 120s or low 130s, but that is a big change in just a few days. But we caught it right here. So that's what we look for here in Invest for Tomorrow, maximizing profits, minimizing losses. So let's look at Li Auto. So Li Auto actually went ahead and it dipped a little bit after I mentioned it, right? I mentioned it back on, what day was that? That was the 24th. Let's go ahead and look at it. So this was the 23rd, and it fell down on the 24th. It continued to go down, and on the 25th, it had hit a low here of 21.73. It jumped up pretty fast, $3, fell back down, and then it jumped up all the way up to $26. So we already knew that was a support. So if you wanted a double dip, you could have, or you could have just rode it here for these $3. So another one that had big opportunities. And like that, there's going to be many more to come. So that's what the Patreon consists of: maximizing profits, minimizing losses, and the Discord's a little bit more speculative. And if you're not comfortable with that yet, I give access to everyone in the Patreon members in the different tiers so that you can learn from that over time until you start feeling comfortable. So if that's something that interests you, come and join us. The links are down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Share this with your friends and community. And don't forget to hit that like button to let me know you watch this video.